Hopefully, one day, Romana's story will be told here. I know it will be out of this world.
You are an idiot! I cannot believe you failed to recognize me. Twice! At last! Yes, Romana, the one and the same. The one and only, in fact. Confusing? I would have thought it was plain enough. The Rani stole my identity and went traveling with you, all the while plotting to use you to her own ends. What is difficult to understand? The only thing which might be is how you didn't realize it wasn't me. Convincing? Really? So is that all it takes to fool you? All someone needs to do to trick their way onto the TARDIS is dress up like one of your old companions and change their hair. Tell me, does this happen to you often? Ah, true. She did complete her disguise by regenerating into my current face. Perhaps I should cut you some slack? Oh, except you have never actually met me in this regeneration before. Hello, by the way, long time no see. We are Time Lords, you and I. Even though our faces change, we usually have a good intuition as to who each other is. I knew you were you for the first time I saw you, albeit from afar. Even with your new face. Don't you know me, Doctor? Or would you like the TARDIS to scan me and confirm against records? I discovered the Ronnie's break-in when I returned home. She must have been in quite a rush as she had barely made any efforts to cover her tracks. I guess she might already have known I would not confront you both directly for the reason I just gave. All the security footage was there. I saw her raiding my wardrobes. Watched her regenerate into a Ronnie with my face. The monster! Watched as she broke into my TARDIS for the first time, that is. I was quite surprised to find it was still there where I left it. Once again, though, she had not bothered to hide her movements. My TARDIS log showed she had performed a side-to-side time transport and to where. And so I resolved to do what I could. To follow you incognito until I could devise a plan to rescue you. I will help you stop the Rani. I will help you save the universe, if at all possible. And after that, I shall be returning home. I think I shall by that time have had just about as much of you as I can bear. Then she won. She got what she wanted. She joined the ranks of the bulk entities, gained the powers, knowledge and understanding of 11-dimensional existence. The Rani won. Rassilon's rod. There must be hundreds of them. Can they all be sources of this disaster? If so, we don't stand a chance. Where do we begin? You could have been killed, you reckless fool. Even you admitted there were bigger fish to fry. You have a universe to save. There are some deaths even we cannot survive. Your head leaving your shoulders and being diced might well be among them. Who is going to put the universe back together when you lie in 1,000 pieces? No, you're not leaving me with this mess. You have some insight into this which I have not yet fully discerned, but I cannot deny it exists. You don't get to throw your life away in some silly gesture and leave me holding the proverbial baby. I've always had a soft spot for the Alshin, a very capable scientific species and quite a peaceful one to boot. Do you know them, Doctor? What has got into you? No! There is not enough explanation for this. We are leaving, it seems, yet we have not solved the problem. The monster remains. And all you have done to help is give the Alshin a glorified weather app and a plan to sneak away while the bulk entity is distracted consuming others. And why be so arch with Roderick? You know full well, as does he, that you met in your past timeline, his future. Of course you'll meet again. Why, the sliders. Have things already come so far? Doctor, here's what I think. Hear me out. You do not need me here. Whether I'm here or not, you will survive, you will persist. You will have adventures. You will save the day, save the world, save the universe. You will triumph. And yes, you will suffer. And all this you could and would do without me here. But you would do all of this, achieve all of this, experience all of this, the good and the bad, better with me here. So, it is concluded then. Our mopping up of the lingering effects of the bulk incursions. Doctor, we are always on Earth. We spend far too much time here. As you yourself said, we do have a time machine. We can go anywhere in time and space. A very selective account of our most recent travels. We also explored Antarctica, Foxgrove, Ealing, the South Pole again, more or less, Ealing again, Weymouth, and finally the Trap Street in central London. And then we had to visit them all again in the cleanup. Which is why we are standing, once again, in Antarctica. I would like to get as far away from Earth as possible, both in space and time. You may have told the literal truth, but in spirit it is nothing but lies and selfishness, rotten to the core. You knew I wanted new experiences away from Earth. Knew this because I told you. And yet, what did you want? Clearly you could not shake free from this obsession with all things earthly, at least not entirely. And so you devised this clever ruse in order to keep to the letter of your word, yet all the while satisfying your own wants and desires. With no discussion, no hints, no warnings, just an "oh, look, what a strange coincidence, how familiar it all seems," and a shrug. And no actual thought or consideration given to anyone else whatsoever. I have put up with a lot of this over the years, both when we traveled together the first time and not a little in our most recent adventures. Did you ever stop to think why I left the first time? But I had seen signs of you growing and learning from your recent experiences. Had hoped you had begun to break your selfish habits. And yet, here we are. Actions have consequences. You of all people should understand that. What you have done today will have repercussions. For good or evil, it is hard to say. But things feel far from good right now. The doctor doth protest too much, methinks. At best, we can only say it was not entirely your fault. Consequences. And so it begins.
More or less, huh? And that was not why I slapped you. We are neither of us gods. Just ask the next bulk denizen we run into. Granted, none of the lesser species, humans, Albions, Daleks, Levithians, the list is endless, could possibly identify with us. Their linear and limited existences, senses and perceptions of reality obviously preclude that. But while we see and comprehend things most of them could never imagine, we do still share some of their weaknesses and flaws. Aspects of ungodliness. We are none of us perfect, after all. But I didn't slap you because you left me, and every other Gallifreyan out of your rent. I slapped you because you had turned into a raving lunatic and were beginning to look a little wary. How are you feeling now? That was for risking your life so foolishly, and for not including me in your plan or the risk. You're not here to speak for me, act for me, or decide for me, and you are not to go throwing your life away on my account. You might have regenerated, or worse still, you might not. How many regenerations do you really have? How many have you really used? Gallifrey tends to be very sparing with its extra regeneration energy. Not like the Sisterhood of Karn, very fast and loose with their magic potions and regeneration anabolic steroids. But Gallifrey is not so free and easy. What if the Sisterhood of Karn's shot in the arm wasn't a regeneration at all? Just some way of stretching your 8th Doctor with a few facial strains along the way. More of a face drop, if you like. No Ward Doctor at all, really. What if your past vanity regeneration wasn't a true regeneration either? What if on Transalore, Gallifrey just put on a light show to keep you indebted to them, giving you nothing but a special effect? What if you really were the 12th Doctor all along, and after you were shot by the Cybermen, you really did become the 13th and final of your line? All 12 regenerations finally spent. No. How many do you really have left now? 10, 5, 3, 2? Not even that, perhaps. Yes, I worry about you.
But why not simply deploy the foremost Cavorite panels and repel away from it gravitationally? From the looks of it, it seems quite energetic. Surely it must have quite some gravitational field. So, are there any nearby gravitational bodies we can push off from? Don't look out of the windows! Well, whether by accident or design, it does seem the collision alarm was unnecessary. Something has arrested our forward momentum and we appear to be holding fixed relative positions. I'd guess 300 or 400 yards off the bow, assuming such measures have any meaning here. Do you think we should have told everyone to come up here? You used K9 and the FDSS, the four-dimensional stress set, to extend the TARDIS own space-time manipulation field around the A36, didn't you? Yes, it would require a fair bit of extra kit installing for this whole thing to manage that. You are thinking of boarding the space station, or whatever that thing out there is. We're on an artificial station embedded in the multidimensional bulk. Of course it isn't real. It all looks like perfectly normal human activity to me. I won't count this against you, by the way. We still haven't actually seen a human in the Epsilon Rhinus system, since we're not actually in that system right now. Well, I am Romana, and this is the Doctor. And we are explorers. They did seem inordinately obsessed with bodily functions. It was almost as if they were defined by them. And they were plastic men and plastic cats and dogs. It's certainly unusual to find someone even more obsessed with Earth than you. A teen fusion, perhaps? He is quite mad, isn't he? We have to find his TARDIS. Switch off the jamming. And there was I, thinking you were the traditionalist. Very old school. He hasn't even switched it from the default interior. A Type 4? What on Gallifrey is he doing with a museum piece like that? Where would he even find one? And why would he want to use it in the first place? While that's very generous of you, I rather think we should see this through. I mean, perhaps the rest of the universe might survive the complete disintegration of the Epsilon Orionis system. Then again, perhaps he might not. And even if he could survive, it seems a shame to leave our new Albion and Hungarian friends to potential oblivion. No, I think we're in this to the bitter end. Doctor, do you think he may be infected? Doctor, I know there are bigger fish to fry, but shouldn't we be doing more to fix things here? Yes, that was the fish I was referring to. What I meant was the inequities in this system's wider society. One planet preying upon another, the empire building, the worst, the subjugation, no matter how subtly effective, of whole planets such as Cairo here. Shouldn't we do something about that? You're talking almost as if the universe is sentient. You're not descending into theism now, are you? Lobsters! I'd say they showed exceptional good sense. Of all of us here, they were the first to find a way to safety. Doctor, what happened there? You knew something about it, didn't you? Before Timmy attacked. On the subject of rushing into places, shouldn't we check out the Anubis option? After all, that was the advice Marina de la Mer gave us. I see. This must have been what you were looking for, but confined under the Mondasian parliament when we checked up on Mondas. Perhaps we should try the Anubis route after all? This whole place is a riddle. A bell! I'll just ring it. Do you think he needs dental work? Now, Doctor, I'm not saying you're fat. Far from it. But you are a little thicker than me. As the lowest profile Time Lord here, I think it's wisest if I take the lead. I'm sorry, Doctor, but you couldn't see what I could see from where I was standing. As you moved, your bum jiggled up and down slightly with every shift of your legs from one to the other. The only time you would have fit underneath was when a leg was fully extended, either one. So when you were as close as you were going to get with a leg out, I pulled you through as far and as fast as I could. And you're welcome. I see you've done something with my hair, and my old clothes, and my face. Is this a new look? Is this what they call grunge? So, Ronnie, now you're home, do you plan to resume your pastime of aping me? Go into retirement, perhaps?
The lives of great men all remind us we may make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. Never be cruel, never be cowardly. Laugh hard, run fast, be kind.
Masters, mistresses, the Doctor requires materials in order to maintain the TARDIS and ensure continued functionality. He similarly requires carbon-based comestibles to sustain his own biological functions and existence. Master would never say this, but he requires aid beyond that supplied by this unit in order to acquire these. To aid the Doctor in his various tasks and creations, this can be most effectively achieved via Patreon or Substack subscriptions, or through donations directly to PayPal. Or if you desire physical goods in return for your contributions, written accounts of my travels with the Doctor are also available on Amazon. Links are in the description below. Thank you, masters, mistresses.